Mira Thorne's consciousness returned in fragments, first the sterile hum of machinery, then the acrid tang of disinfectant that burned differently than anything human-made, and finally the weight. Two small, warm weights pressed against either side of her body. Her eyelids felt like lead shutters, but she forced them open. The ceiling above glowed with bioluminescent panels that pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, as if the room itself was alive and monitoring her. This wasn't Earth. The wrongness of it settled into her bones before memory could catch up. The transport, the asteroid field, the collision. Mira tried to sit up, but her body screamed in protest. Every nerve ending reported damage, broken ribs, fractured arm. Something wrong with her left leg, and then she heard it, a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through the medical bed. She turned her head slowly, fighting against the stiffness in her neck. Two creatures flanked her, each no larger than a terrier, but built like miniature bears covered in silver-blue fur that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Their eyes, 6 of them per creature, arranged in 2 horizontal rows, fixed on her with an intensity that should have been terrifying. "Easy," Mira whispered, her voice cracking from disuse. "Easy there." The creature's growling stopped. The one on her right, slightly smaller, with a distinctive white patch on its chest, leaned forward and pressed its broad head against her shoulder. The other, darker and more thickly built, remained rigid, its multiple eyes scanning the room's entrance. Mira's fragmented memory began assembling itself. The colony ship. She'd been transporting genetic samples to New Horizon when the debris field appeared from nowhere. No time to evade. Impact, fire, cold, and then, these two. The medical bay door hissed open with a sound like escaping steam. Mira's guardians exploded into action. The smaller one, Mira found herself thinking of it as Tivy, though she had no idea why positioned itself across her chest, impossibly gentle despite the speed of its movement. The larger one, Rocky, her mind supplied, launched itself toward the doorway with a roar that seemed far too massive for its small frame. Calaxi's mercy. The alien that had entered stumbled backward. It stood nearly 8 feet tall, mantis-like, with 4 delicate arms and a translucent exoskeleton that revealed the glowing organs beneath. "The humans still claimed by the cubs, Dr. Vex Thrill." Another voice, deeper, resonated from somewhere beyond the doorway. "The humans should have been processed hours ago. The cubs can't possibly still be. I'm telling you, Magistrate, they won't allow anyone within 3 meters. We've tried stun fields, tranquilizers, even pheromone repellents. Nothing works. They just adapt." Rocky stood at the threshold, every muscle coiled. His fur had begun to bristle, each strand now glowing with a faint blue light that Mira recognized a threat display. Tivy remained draped across her, a living shield. But Mira could feel the tension in the small body, ready to spring at the first sign of danger. "What are they?" Mira managed to ask, her voice stronger now. The mantis creature's head swiveled toward her with mechanical precision. "You're awake. Fascinating. The cubs must have sensed it. Human, I am Dr. Vex Thrill. You are aboard the medical frigate Compassion's Reach. You've been unconscious for 4 cycles. 4 days?" Mira's mind reeled. "Close enough. We found you in the wreckage of your transport. Barely alive. And these two." Vex Thrill gestured with 2 of its 4 hands toward Rocky and Tivy. "These are Kirathi cubs, infant Kirathi. They were in stasis pods in your cargo hold, marked for a xenobiology research station. The genetic samples," Mira remembered now. "Endangered species from across known space, bound for conservation facilities." The Kirathi, she'd read the manifest. Critically endangered apex predators from a death world in the Outer Rim. Intelligent, loyal, and according to the notes, capable of bonding instantaneously with those who saved their lives. "They think you're their mother," Vex Thrill said, as if reading her thoughts. "The moment we extracted you from the wreckage, they woke from stasis. They imprinted. And Kirathi cubs are genetically programmed with a singular purpose: protect the parent at all costs. Until they mature enough to understand nuance, they will perceive anyone approaching you as a threat." "How long until they mature?" Mira asked, though she already suspected she knew the answer. Kirathi cubs reach adolescence in approximately 6 to 8 standard months. A different voice cut through the magistrate, still beyond the doorway. This is unacceptable, doctor. The human requires treatment. Her injuries are being monitored remotely. Vex, Thrill interrupted. The biogel we managed to inject before the cubs fully awakened is accelerating her healing. But any attempt to approach triggers their defensive response. We nearly lost 3 medical staff before we understood. Mira looked down at Tivy, whose 6 eyes gazed back with unmistakable devotion. She reached out slowly with her good hand and touched the soft fur. The cub chirped an oddly cheerful sound and nuzzled closer. So what happens now? Mira asked. Vex Thrill's mandibles clicked together in what might have been a sigh. Now? Now we wait. Your injuries will heal. The cubs will grow. And in the meantime, you have become the most heavily guarded patient in galactic medical history. There are worse fates, Mira said softly, running her fingers through Tivy's shimmering fur while Rocky maintained his vigil at the door. She had lost her ship, her cargo, and possibly her career. But looking at these 2 fierce, loyal creatures who had chosen her, who had claimed her as family in the chaos of disaster, Mira Thorne found herself smiling. The universe had a strange sense of humor. She'd been sent to deliver endangered species to safety. Instead, they had saved her, and they weren't letting go.